Uh,
Hello, everybody.
Hello, folks. Welcome to tonight's great event. We welcome the millions of people around the world watching. And tonight we're going to review, I'm sorry, we're not going to review, we're going to examine Budweiser Black Crown. Well, it was introduced in 2012 or developed during 2012 with consumer input and then formally introduced, I believe, in 2013.
That sounds right.
So, anybody want to give us some background on it? I think Eric knows a
I
little.
do have some background on that, and this background is coming to me from Anheuser-Busch themselves.
Okay.
It was in the spring of 2012. Anheuser-Busch came out with this product, with this 12-pack called the Brewmaster's Project 12. And what it was there were 3 different Anheuser-Busch locations. There was a St. Louis, Williamsburg, Virginia, and there was Los Angeles, California. And they were the ones that became the top 3 selected out of a big batch of other breweries that Budweiser and Anheuser-Busch said, we need you 3 to, come up with these beers that we would like to, in a batch kind of a test, we would like to have consumers buy a 12-pack and be able to sample 3 distinctly different kinds of beers that our brewmasters developed and figure out through voting on which one is going to become a regular mainstay from Anheuser-Busch in the Budweiser family of beers.
Right, and it started with 12 breweries submitting a new beer, and then they did taste tests and all right, and they narrowed it down to the top 3.
You can think of it almost as like an American Idol Budweiser beers. Really, it's that kind of a similarity to it.
Yeah, and it was like American Idol, and then they put the 3 beers out on the market as Project 12, and they had different batch numbers, and a lot of people were confused about the batch numbers, but they didn't bother reading the Project 12 because it said very clearly that the batch numbers were the zip code of where the beers were coming from.
There was St. Louis did a deep gold colored beer. Williamsburg, Virginia did a light amber beer, and the one that wins is this deep amber beer.
Yeah.
Came from the brainchild of Los Angeles brewmaster Brian Sullivan.
Now, yeah. One was a Pilsner's, wasn't it?
Yes, the one from St. Louis was a Pilsner at 6%.
Yeah.
Now, they made a second batch. They made a second Project 12 last year, but that didn't really do much.
I've not seen that.
I bought the package somewhere in close to New Orleans. No one else was carrying it, and they had 3, but I've never seen them since. I did videos on all of them, so they're in my archives. But they were interesting, but I guess they just decided none of the 3 were good enough for permanent.
I think they bombed out. They bombed pretty quick. Seems like they was on the market. They was off the market about as quick as they come on. So
yeah, I only saw it for about 2 weeks, and then it was gone. And only about 1 or 2 stores carried it. So Anheuser-Busch must have decided that the quality wasn't there. I thought they were pretty good, but they must have just said, "Let's kill it," and they did. So
probably the best one was it wasn't all that famous, but the bourbon one was about the best one I saw.
Delicious. I liked that one.
Yeah, that was interesting. I thought all of them were interesting at least. And anyway, let's check out. We ought to tell people who we are. I'm Ronald or Jay from LaPlace. We got Paul. Paul is from Texas. We've got Brandon from Mississippi.
By way of LaPlace.
Right, you grew up in LaPlace, right? And we got, but he defected. We've got Charles and John from Indiana, and all the way at the end of the country, almost to the ocean, we have Eric in Massachusetts. So, I didn't get much head on mine.
I got none.
I got plenty. And it's a stadium.
I got quite a bit.
Yeah, that's weird. I guess the glass does matter. Mine's giving a lot of bubbles, but I have that etched Anheuser-Busch tasting glass. So,
right.
Yeah.
Who wants to give us a rundown on the? We can tell what the appearance is. It's amber. It's clear. It's bubbly. It looks like kind of like Shiner Bock, I guess, if you've ever had that one.
A little wider.
It says here from Anheuser-Busch that the Lager is brewed with 4 different types of hops to achieve its vibrant clarity and deep amber hue. It was developed in collaboration with Scott Ungerman in Fairfield, California, and Dave Cohen in Houston. So there you go.
Now this is also made with the original strand of yeast from the original Budweiser strand.
That's correct. You're right.
You're getting toasted caramel malt, and it's also aged on the 2 more things. It's aged on the
Beechwood.
wood chips, and it uses rice as an adjunct like the other Budweiser beers. It doesn't use corn.
Except for Bud Ice.
Except the Bud Ice, which is not considered part of the Budweiser family.
They tell you as well that it has a they tell you, Anheuser-Busch tells you that it has a hoppier character than the traditional Budweiser.
Yeah. Well, who wants to give us a rundown of the aroma? Charles, you want to do that?
To me, it's like any other adjunct lager. It's a little sweet. Smells like a Budweiser. Definitely got some different hops to it. Doesn't smell terrible. Smells pretty good.
Y'all pick up a little syrupiness with it, like a little brown bread.
Yeah.
If you get Roman meal bread, that old-time brown bread my mom used to make us eat.
Yeah.
It's definitely got a syrupiness, which I think is coming from those caramel malts.
I think so.
Yeah, there is a corn syrupy kind of a scent, but it's different than corn syrup. It's different than just smelling light lager for sure.
Yeah.
But it's got that sort of an adjuncty smell to it as well.
Not corn because they're using rice polish.
That's right. You're right. That's what I'm smelling there. Yeah, there's definitely some light, toasty, and maybe even light toffee scents, but that's really what you pull out of that, I think.
Well, to be honest with you, my olfactory senses are diminished tonight. I have a cold, so.
Oh, Paul, why'd you catch a cold now?
All I smell is beer.
You shouldn't plan on these things like that. Hey, see if you, how dare you catch a cold? How about if you give us the flavor?
Me?
Yeah, if you can, do the best you can with the cold.
Yeah, it's just hoppier than a Budweiser, a typical Budweiser for sure. I taste those hops pretty quickly. Get that. It's just kind of a creaminess, a smoothness to it that I like.
What do you think, John?
I tell you, to me, let me take another taste of it real quick.
Okay.
Pretty carbonated, I'll give it that.
It's carbonated. It's you can taste to me you can taste the malts on the back end of it pretty heavy. It's a big bodied beer. I think that's where you're getting your 6% alcohol. But to me, it's just a hopped up version of a Budweiser with a little bit of caramel on the end as it goes down.
I'm getting sweetness, but I'm not getting an overload of sweetness. I'm getting hops more than, well, no, let me take that back. I'm getting hops and malt. It's sort of like, on one hand, I'm getting malt like the bread crust. On the other hand, it's coming in with hops, like a straightforward hop bitterness, not a pininess, not a citrus or anything like that, but just like the bread crust, the bitterness. You know what I mean? Like a 1-2 punch, but the punch is not strong.
Yeah.
What do you think, Brandon?
You said a lot of what I want to say. I mean, it does have some sweetness there, but it's not overwhelming. It's not a cloying sweetness like you would get from a Bud Light Platinum.
Yeah.
But definitely, it's definitely fuller bodied. I mean, it's fuller bodied than a Budweiser. Asking for a 6% beer. It's definitely got some hop bitterness there more than a Budweiser. And of course, I gotta say, I like the appearance too with all the bubbles and all the lacing. So all pluses, in my opinion.
A lot of lacing. Now the mouthfeel, I guess we would say is medium.
Yeah. I mean, for some people that are used to, say, light lagers or stuff like PBR or even like the Busch we had the other week, it's gonna be on the fuller side. So if people aren't used to drinking a heavier 6% beer and aren't used to drinking other things than pale lagers, this might be on the heavy side for people, but it's not really not that heavy at all.
No, that's why I said medium. I mean,
I would agree. Medium. Yep.
I'd agree with that. I think though, what you're tasting, what I'm tasting more of, I'm tasting more of the malt on the back end and the hops.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that.
I think I think John's. I can see where John's going with that. It's got a. The body of the beer definitely develops more when you take the swallow of the beer. You tend to taste more of the malt and the caramel and the toffee kind of flavors when you're finishing the beer more than when it first hits your palate and your tongue. I get a rush of the water first, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It does have a crisp finish, though, like Budweiser does.
It's like they're sort of picking up where the Budweiser American Ale left off, almost.
Yeah, but to me, it's a lot better than that one. That beer had a lot of flaws to it. Like, it would start making you feel, it was like sickening after a while. With like that Hoggy, Hoggy down in Florida, he talked about how it would have that bubble gum flavor. And
That's what I'm getting from this.
Really?
Bubble gum?
Just a touch.
I think you've had too many, Chuck.
I've only had that much.
If I look deep down hard enough, I can understand that, but I gotta really dig in there to find it.
Has Chuck been chewing Hubba Bubba? Hey, what happened to me, Bubba? I mean, what happened to me, Forrest? Anyway, you got shot, Bubba. But
I think overall, it's a good beer. But for myself, I'm not getting the hops that maybe you guys are getting. I'm getting more of the back end flavor off the malt.
I agree.
I'd call it more hop forward. I mean, maybe that's why you're not getting the hops as much.
Yeah.
You mean hops at the front end?
Yeah.
I kind of think that Anheuser-Busch with this whole Project 12 thing, definitely. I think they were trying to make, I don't want to say an obscure beer, but they're trying to make a different enough beer and still put the Budweiser name on it so that we realize it's different enough of a beer, but it's not so different that a Budweiser drinker's gonna want to be like, I don't want to drink this. What is this funky stuff? It doesn't taste so strange and foreign to people that it's not easily had. You get a lot of the different flavors that you can get with a lot of other different styles of beers out there than just their normal pale lagers, which is why this is a good beer for people that don't really think they like different styles of beer, or they don't like the flavors of other beers.
You're right, and I think the problem with the ale was it was a little too extreme, Like, I think the Budweiser American Ale, I probably only drank a 6-pack, and I think they had them in singles, like these kind of big bottles or something. I can't remember, but
I only had one in my life.
I needed to spend more time with that, and I wanted to go spend some more time with it, and then it was gone, But I could see where Budweiser drinkers would not cotton up to that ale too quickly.
Yeah.
This one is not as extreme, and not to say that was extreme.
Right.
Craft beer drinkers are going to say, what are you talking about extreme? Extreme for Budweiser drinkers. Eric's talking about relative to your regular Budweiser.
In the sense of craft beer, I could be going on a limb on this one, but this to me, even though it's not an ESB and it's not a brown ale, but it sort of reminds me of a sessionable kind of an English ale where you can go to your local bar, your local pub. I mean, this is a little bit higher alcohol, but still, you can go to your local bar, your local pub, but get these Black Crowns, and you could just, with the 6%, watch out, but you could just sit there all day and drink these things and not really have a palate fatigue where this is just getting boring and uninteresting and it's just annoying to drink.
Right.
Nothing off about the beer.
And I think it beats the fool out of stuff like Shiner Bock and a lot of those. I mean, it's just got more flavor, it's got more body, it's got more character. I think we ought to do a Shiner Bock examination. But, I'm not trying to rip on Shiner Bock, but Shiner Bock is a lot more watery than this. To me, this is more of a Bock than Shiner Bock, and it's not even called Bock.
Yeah, I can see that.
I could drink this over a Shiner Bock any day.
I don't think they threw this together with no effort. Some people might say they just slung it together. I don't believe that.
Right. With a name like Budweiser, they're not gonna. Maybe they did with that American ale, but they're not gonna try to, throw their reputation out the window by putting together a crappy product, and then people are going, What are you doing to your name? Uh-oh.
Yeah, I don't think they slung the ale together either. It was just a weird beer. You know, it was like strange, and I couldn't. A lot of people had trouble getting a handle on it. And then, you know, Anheuser-Busch was having all kind of major problems in 2008 when they came out with the ale. They were trying to get rid of their CEO, who was having all kind of, you know, personal problems. And so, I mean, there was a lot of issues going on then. And you had that whole thing with the Michelob Brewing Company, and they put out this whole array of craft beers, and they didn't promote them right, even though most of them were pretty good, I thought. And that collapsed. And then the people at the shareholders of Budweiser just said, we got to get rid of this guy. He's killing us. And they brought in InBev to take it over, which was, I guess, a good idea. Kept the thing from breaking down. So it took them about 4 years to sort of kind of like get things straight or whatever. But to prevent a Schlitz type situation, and some of the older people here remember that.
Now you brought up a fabulous word right there, and when you said it, I thought that's what this beer is. And if I'm wrong, you tell me. This is almost like a Michelob.
Yeah, it's like Amberbach, but with more alcohol.
Right.
Yeah, it's almost like
Malt liquor definitely could call it that if you wanted to, if they wanted to. I
was just sitting here, Eric, thinking the same thing that you just said. The more warm this beer gets, the more malt liquor it tastes like.
Okay, all right, let's go along with it. In 1971, if they'd have come out with this beer, they would have called it Budweiser Black Crown Premium Malt Liquor.
Yeah. I can see that totally.
But that name, in 1971, that was a name you wanted to have on a beer. That's why I wish we had the Beer Whisperer here, because he has a lot of insights on that kind of stuff.
Billy D. Williams does too.
Yeah. But, you know, in 1971, it was something you wanted to have on a beer because it attracted a higher, more well-heeled audience. By 1991, malt liquor was something you definitely did not want to have on a beer because it was considered bad. You know what I mean? Even though that's not what it was originally put out to be. So even though this is a malt liquor, we all know that this is a malt liquor, Anheuser-Busch would never dream of calling it that.
Amber Lager.
Right, they got to call it that because people have a misunderstanding of what malt liquor is, and so, you know, it's like, why? There's no purpose in fighting it. I mean, people are not going to understand. They're not going to do the research. The consumer is just going to think, malt liquor, that's ghetto beer. I mean, so why even, you know, there's no point in, you know, cutting off your nose to spite your face. Just call it amber lager. Now, people say lager. Oh, well, that's fancy, you know, even though it's just an ordinary word, but, you know, they think that's fancy. So I can't blame Anheuser-Busch for coming out with that sort of approach. Like Paul said, they came out with a really sharp-looking bottle and can. Their commercials are pretty nice looking. They have a beautiful glass on some of the print ads. I wish I could get a hold of that glass. I got no problem with it. I think they did a great job. And somebody was telling me that they were getting ready to cancel it. Well, of course, this was a Miller guy telling me that yesterday, all right? So,
well, they got Miller Fortune going on, too.
Yeah.
But the bottle's changed, though, hasn't it? The bottle's changed since it was first come out, right? That's not the original bottle, not the original label.
I don't think so. I can check that real fast. But look, I talked to an Anheuser-Busch distributor guy this morning, all right? I asked him about that. He said, no, they're not canceling it. He said, I don't know where that's coming from. So, I don't know. Yeah, Miller Fortune is something we need to look at, too, because this Miller Fortune was invented because of this. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, it was.
They said Miller Fortune's, I talked to the Miller guy yesterday. He said Miller Fortune's starting to pick up, starting to get some momentum, which is interesting. Yeah, because at first it wasn't.
You're right.
They had it priced too high. And talking about price, let's bring in that subject right now. I bought this 6-pack for $7.29, although I could have gone down the street and gotten it for $6.99. I realized a little while later. But if we can get it here for $6.99 a 6-pack, I'd like y'all to discuss that for a minute.
That's pretty cheap. I mean, I picked up this 16-ounce can at a gas station for $1.69, which I guess isn't bad for a single at a gas station, but still, I mean, I probably could have searched around a little harder and found it for cheaper at a different gas station, but there you go.
Can?
16-ounce can.
Oh, yeah, it's a little high. They had the 25-ounce cans for $2.59, but I don't know, whatever. What about the rest of y'all?
I give $8.69 for a 6-pack.
Damn.
Get money from that guy.
That's too high, John.
Do what?
I said that's too high, John. Eric?
I got these, the same ones that Brandon has. I got 4 of these 16-ounce cans, I believe. Yesterday I got that. That was, I think that was $4.99. There was a store that I had to go to. The second store I went to had this beer finally, and they had all these different Anheuser-Busch 4-pack tall boys for $4.99 each. So I guess that's pretty good for what you're getting.
It's a 4-pack?
Of the 16-ounce cans.
$5.
Yeah.
That's not too bad. $4.99. Let's see. I picked mine up at a gas station in Goche. Oh, on the Gulf Coast. I hadn't been in Goche in a while. I hadn't been there ever except on Highway 90.
Actually, I picked it up at the gas station right across from the shed.
I bought mine at I bought my 6-pack at Chevron in La Place on US Highway 51. John, I'm looking at 2 bottles. One is a bottle I bought practically the day this hit the market, and I don't see any difference. You see any difference?
Well, I thought the bottles that come out around here when they first come out were like right here. They had more. They had gold stripes and stuff coming up them.
I still got gold stripes.
I don't remember any gold stripes, vertical stripes or anything.
They say on the can hashtag 91406, which is the zip code for Los Angeles. So you can look that up on Instagram or Facebook or something, that hashtag, and find this beer, I guess. There you go for social media. They're looking out for you, social media people.
But yeah, I may have been wrong. I may be talking about something else. But I thought the bottle was a little different. But if you take a look at this, what we were just talking about between this bottle here and the Miller Fortune, it's almost the same color code except they've got a red stripe around the middle of it.
Yeah. Now that Miller Fortune, that's an interesting beer. And I even have a rocks glass now that somebody. Oh no, I bought that at a garage sale for about 25 cents. And I want to drink a Miller Fortune in a rocks glass so that I can show off. Now,
use some ice.
They're trying to do Miller Fortune to bring in bourbon drinkers into beer.
Yeah, so my grandma likes to drink beer on ice on the rocks.
Oh no.
You're right, Eric. Well, anyway, what is your overall impression? And then I want to show you something.
Yeah, I want to start because I was going to say something earlier about the fact that I find like these macro breweries that do the kind of, off-kilter beers, their usual American-style lagers. I find they do a good job with these because they have a lot of flavor. I mean, I like this beer a lot, and it has a lot of flavor, but it's drinkable. You always use that word, Jay, in a lot of your reviews, drinkability.
Yeah.
I find the drinkability of these macro brew off-kilter beers is always pretty high, and so it makes them enjoyable to me.
Yeah, like your Third Shift and your Batch 19 and this one and Miller Fortune. I'll go along with that. And the thing that really, I'm sorry to interrupt everybody else, but I have to say this. The thing that impressed me, and I don't mean impressed me in a good or bad way, it just like caught my attention was that when this beer came out, I saw a lot of discussion in the craft beer community about it. And, it was 99% negative, like, oh, hell, here these fools are putting this beer out. These people got no sense. It's terrible. Nobody's going to like it. It's a joke. And who are they trying to fool? No craft beer drinkers are going to drink this stuff.
We are.
Exactly.
And my impression when I read those type of comments is that there's sort of like a paranoia. It's like, why do you feel so threatened? I mean, damn, excuse my language. I mean, don't drink it. I mean, why do the craft beer people, which I consider myself a craft beer person, so to speak, but why do they talk about Budweiser all day long when they turn around and say it doesn't matter, it's irrelevant? Well, if it's irrelevant,
why are they talking about it?
Why do you talk about it all the time? It's like half the post they make is saying, look at us, Bud Light. Well, I mean, it obviously matters because you talk about it constantly. It's like this insecurity. I don't know. I don't want to get into a big philosophical thing.
That's just like typical news stuff.
Yeah, I don't want to get into a big philosophical thing, but
absolutely.
But to me, if you're confident in what you're doing, you don't need to talk about like something that's supposedly passe or whatever. I don't know. I feel like it's like they feel threatened by Anheuser-Busch or something.
Right.
I don't understand that. It's like, why does it have to be all that? But anyway, I don't want to get into a big rant, you know, like I do sometimes in my video. Any final thoughts on this beer?
I find it interesting that still when I go and read the information on the Project 12 that eventually got this beer chosen from, they talk about this as this was a beer that became a part of the largest focus group in Budweiser history. And what are we doing with this beer but focusing and examining of this beer and that's what we're doing with it. So I guess we're sort of reinforcing the idea that it's all right that a major brand like Budweiser can make us think and contemplate beer a lot more than they normally do, and it's a good thing that they're making beers like this because who knows, somebody drinks this beer and then all of a sudden somebody may want to go out and try, you know, red ales or something else from England like a brown ale or something like an ESB. It could be sort of a gateway beer for other people in the macro world. Who knows? But I think it's a good beer.
Well said. Amen. I second that comment. I like this beer. I have no issue with it. I drink it all the time, you know, really. That's just the way I feel about it.
Definitely a B. It's definitely a B to B plus beer. Definitely.
I didn't even check the ratings on Beer Advocate Rate Beer, but I mean, if they have a 0 out of 100,
Beer Advocate gives a pretty good review.
Good.
The Bros gave it a 71, so it's not horrible for an Anheuser-Busch product.
Good.
Eric, he stole a little bit of my thunder. Eric stole a little bit of my thunder there, and I agree with him. This is a beer that, you know, if you're a big time craft beer drinker, this is one that you share with your buddies that are not craft beer drinkers because one, it's good, it's really good. Two, it teaches them the balance of the hops, and it teaches them what a crystal malt tastes like at the end, because you don't get that in light beers.
Charles is right. It's a good gateway beer.
You know what? Just let me add this quickly. I found it interesting that reading the bro that did this review. This guy was talking about it's another beer from one of the big natural breweries that has a lot of potential, but just isn't bold enough to be epic quite yet. And I think that's exactly how this beer was intended to be in the market. It's got a lot of potential. It's not made to, you know, blow your socks off for a while, but you definitely know you're drinking something substantially different and a better product from their company. You know that.
Yeah, and I don't think it was designed to be epic or anything like that.
Just to be drinkable.
It's bold enough to be economical.
But with some character. I mean, that's a pretty good deal. $6.99 for a 6-pack of a really tasty beer. Although some people had to pay more, I understand that. Brandon, any final thoughts on this beer?
I gotta say, it's a very solid beer. Definitely, I don't find anything wrong with it. I remember when I checked out the Project 12 pack, this came in, I was trying to think whether it be the bourbon cask lager or the Pilsner or the amber that is the Black Crown. That one was my favorite as well. So I gotta say, you know, it's one of those things. I guess focus groups don't lie. I mean, if all of us tried it back then, like it, and we're still drinking it now, apparently they did something right. So I gotta give them mad props where it's due.
Yeah, and I think if I went back and looked at my old videos that I made, that this one did get the best score. Now, talking about a value, I want to show y'all something. You tell me if this is a good value, or if I have some kind of problem. All right.
You have a problem.
I bought this at Mathern's today. Mathern Supermarket, La Place, Louisiana. Airline, U.S. Highway 61, Airline Highway. Okay.
They were giving that stuff away a couple videos ago.
Okay, you see this? What this is? This is an 8-pack. 14.9-ounce cans. 14.9-ounce cans. You want to know how much this cost? Anybody want to take a guess?
I said it once. I forget. Was it like $5 or $6, something like that?
$4.99.
I almost bought one the other day, and it was $14.
Wow.
John, if you went to your local grocery store and they had this Guinness Discovery Pack with the Smithwick's Pale Ale, Guinness Black Lager, and Guinness Draft for $4.99, what would you do?
I'd buy 2 of them.
I'd buy 3.
I think I bought my 6th one. I keep buying them because I'm like, man, that is so cheap. That is as cheap as Busch beer, and it is, you know. I think some of these Guinness beers can go toe-to-toe with a lot of craft beers. No joke. I'll stand by that comment.
Agreed.
Oh, yeah.
We ain't hating anything. We don't have a fish we don't have a fish or a leg. I should say a leg, not fish. We don't have a leg in the competition. We just like beer. We want to talk about it, and that's all we got.
Yeah, we don't have a horse in the race.
Yeah, we got a fish in the pond, right?
Yeah, I've been having so much fun with these Discovery Packs. I've been discovering a lot of good things. Well, I might even buy one more because the guy got 78 packs in. He received 78, and they're down to about I think 12 now. He's selling like crazy for that price. But that was a Guinness screw up. Guinness screwed up and sent the beer to the wrong distributor. So
we should check out one of the beers in your pack if we get a chance sometime.
Oh yeah, like
the Smithwick maybe.
Oh yeah, the Smithwick's Pale Ale. Boy, that's a beautiful beer. That Smithwick's Pale Ale. I could talk about that.
We'll get back to you all on that one.
I'd rather drink it than talk about it. Hey, but let's finish this up, and I want to say one thing. I want to say one word. Bud Light Platinum. Should we look at that next week?
Word.
Let me throw my 2 cents in here on this real quick before we jump off here.
Okay, John.
I think this is a tremendous beer. I think if you put probably 75% of America and you took a 6-pack of this and a 6-pack of Budweiser, they're probably going to take the Budweiser because that's what they're used to drinking because it's an older person's beer. But I think if you take that 25%, they're probably going to try this. And I'm like Chuck and the rest of them. I think it's a good starter beer. I think that's what I hope that's what it was meant to be. And I don't think you've seen the last of what these guys are going to come out with yet. I think there's more to come.
Agreed.
And
they got
I'd like to put the Miller Fortune in on us sometime. Let's do an evaluation of that.
I second that comment. I really want to do Miller Fortune.
Yeah, Miller Fortune, Bud Light Platinum, you're going to do as well. I'm not a huge fan of Platinum, but I don't mind examining it and stuff like that, so that's certainly no problem. Miller Fortune, I like that one better than Platinum, but yeah, I'd love to do both.
Brandon, I had some people say they'd like to participate, but they didn't like the beer. This is not about liking a beer. It's about examining a beer.
Right.
We might pick one where we examine and we all hate it. That's fine. That is not liking it is not even the point. I appreciate everybody participating. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Good, solid beer.
Charles just blanked out. Oh, Charles back. Good, solid beer. I got no issue with it. I got 5 left in the fridge to drink, and I think I'm going to enjoy it. Yeah, I know mine's going too. I drank that thing down like there was no tomorrow.
I got 3 left. I'm going to probably polish them off here in just a few minutes.
Okay. Well, I like the way he phrased that. Well,
polish them off.
Thank you, folks, for watching this. To me, I'm saying to me, I can only talk for myself. Watching this exciting video production.
Drink Coors Light.
Yeah.
So long, folks.